somewhere else. It is another day, and I am answering questions that I get in my DMs, because y'all want to know how to do nomad life. It is oh gosh, what is today? It is Monday. It's nice. It's 11 o'clock here in beautiful Jackson, Wyoming. I have a nice little list of questions here that I am actually really excited to answer. It's not as long. I didn't get as many questions as I got yesterday. Yesterday I had like 10 or 11, but today I've got 5 good little questions, and I think they'll be kind of valuable for some people. So I'll go ahead and dive into them. So without any further ado, let's get into answering some questions. Okay, so question number 1. I just started college and I really want to do nomad life. How would you recommend I start preparing without dropping everything? Okay, so it's interesting that you asked this question because I started nomad life while I was in college. So you're in college and you want to do nomad life and you want to learn how to do it without dropping everything. Yeah, so it's pretty simple, I think. First of all, something that a lot of people think is that to do nomad life you need to like invest in a big rig like a van or a bus or anything like that, and you really don't. Ultimately, nomad life it's just about the experiences. Sorry, my phone's tripping. Nomad life is just about the experiences. So like whatever you can realistically do that you already have access to, that can get you to having more experiences outside of the place that you live, is how you can get into nomad life. What does that look like? So for my example, when I wanted to get into nomad life and I didn't have all of the money to buy a van or to do huge crazy road trips because I was working part-time and doing college full-time, what I did was I took some pillows and blankets and I put them in the back of my Kia Soul. I folded my seats down, and I used my Kia because that's what I already had access to. The best way to do it when you're just curious about the lifestyle and you want to try it is to use what you already have access to. So if you have a car, use the car that you already have. If you don't have a car, maybe link with someone who does have a car and do a small trip with them, but I'll kind of get more into the trip stuff. There's the concept of bike packing, which isn't my niche, but that's like traveling with a tent and a biking somewhere cool and like going camping. But the point I'm trying to make is whatever you have access to, and you may have to get creative with it, but take that and drive somewhere you want to go that's achievable for you, you know, whether it's like an hour away to 5 hours away, whatever is achievable, and have some fun experiences, and just do that as often as you can. And when you do that, you like it. Because if you, hold on, okay, there we go. So the reason I say to do it that way is because you'll find that if you like the lifestyle, you'll want to continue doing that. But if you don't like it, you're not out a bunch of money that you spent on a van or something like that. And you're not like spending the entire time, thinking about how to like recoup all of the money that you spent building out some huge elaborate van or something like that. So for your specific situation of like just starting college and wanting to try nomad life, like I would say start with whatever you have. If you have a car, use the car. Like use the car. If you don't, get creative with it, talk to people in your network. But another aspect is reaching out to people who are nomadic. So when I started, back in 2024, when I was doing a summer internship, I reached out to other nomads. Like I was traveling every weekend when I was off work, but I just like started DMing like nomadic influencers, and I started posting about the travels that I was doing, and that's how I built a bit of community. Because like doing the like nomad thing yourself is one aspect, but another aspect that I think is just as important is building community around what you're doing. So if you're like posting about it and reaching out to people, like that's how you meet other nomads who are doing other nomads that you can like look up to and ask questions and stuff like that. Because something that makes changing your lifestyle a lot easier is having people in your circle who are doing the same thing. I think that's why when you're like working a 9 to 5 or when you're just going to college, it's so difficult to actually immerse yourself or imagine yourself as a nomad or as a different kind of person, because you're simply not around other people that are doing it. But when you introduce new people into your circle, whether it's just online or even better in person, it makes it so much easier for you to actually like transition into that new lifestyle, because you see other people who aren't necessarily smarter than you or like more accomplished than you are, who are doing the things that you want to be doing. And learning through osmosis is one of the best ways that we as human beings can learn. So that was a long-winded answer, but I would say, like, if you just started college and you're looking to get into nomad life, start doing it in the way that's most accessible for you, whether you have a car or a friend with a car or whatever. Start making short little trips out of it. Start doing short trips, small trips, nothing crazy, but literally whatever you can actually do. And bonus points for like posting about it and connecting with other nomads on the internet, or even in the real world, in meet space, going to cool places and having these fun experiences. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Okay, next question. I have a full-time job and I'm thinking about buying a van, but I'm low-key worried that I'll spend too much money and realize that I don't like living in it. How would you test out van life before committing? Okay, so just like the last question, the way that you test out van life before committing is not by buying the van. It's by doing it in small batches. So assuming that you already have a car, just start in the car that you already have. And just like I said in the last question, that's a matter of like taking pillows and blankets, putting them in your car, and taking a few road trips, like making a micro camper out of your car. And that's super easy to do. It's what I did when I first started. So for context, when I realized I wanted to become a nomad, I didn't have all the money in the world to buy a van. So I turned my Kia Soul into a micro camper and then started traveling in that. And I ended up seeing like 10 national parks and made a bunch of nomad friends, started posting on social media, grew a bit of a following, and my life kind of changed after that. But it only started because I did the unsexy thing and I built out my car and started actually traveling and focusing on the experiences and started sharing the experiences. So I would say in this situation, if you have a car, start in the car that you have. If you don't have a car, still go out and have experiences using whatever you can to actually get you to those experiences, whether you are doing it with a friend who has a car, or biking somewhere and camping somewhere and having experiences like that. Yeah, just it's a matter of like getting creative to use what you already have to have the experiences that you want to have. So same old. Okay, next question. I'm a single woman who wants to travel and live like a nomad like you do, but safety is one of my biggest concerns. What do you recommend I learn or prepare for before starting? Yeah, so this is a big question that I get. So if you're traveling, well, one thing is that you don't have to travel solo. So in the beginning, I did a lot of solo travel, and me as like a queer person who can present kind of femme, but who can present like kind of masculine depending on the day, I initially was really worried about my safety as someone traveling by themselves. But what I realized is that actually traveling and like going into places by myself, going into camp spots by myself, like in BLM land and national forest, which is just like free dispersed camping, I didn't feel very unsafe, like at all. And I think that's because when I traveled, I specifically went to places that were really highly recommended by other people. And the way that I did that was by using tools like iOverlander to find places to camp and park for the night. And I would only select places that had like lots of photos that people had taken before, so I could get a good idea of the place I was going to be and the surrounding landscape. And usually spots like that are surrounded by other spots that are pretty popular where other people are going to be camping. So what that usually looks like in a very concrete example is like you pull into a camp spot and you'll see like another family camping, you know, a few yards away, or like a couple camping a few, like doing it that way like made me feel a lot more safe. But there's also like the obvious common sense stuff, like keeping forms of protection with you at all times, with whatever you're comfortable carrying, whether that's like a bat or like pepper spray or pepper gel, tasers, a firearm. It's up to you and what you want to carry. And then just more so like common sense stuff, like when you pull into a camp spot or a campsite, like always having a plan of exit. And oh my god, it's 11:11. And when you do like pull into a campsite, like always making sure that the front of your vehicle is facing the exit. So if anything weird, God forbid, were to start happening, all you have to do is jump into your driver's seat and drive away. And another thing is, this is kind of niche and like not a super crazy example, but like something that I noticed with certain van builds, or certain van builds, specifically like big rig builds, is that sometimes people will create a barrier between them and like the living area and the is it the cabin, the front of their vehicle. Don't do that if you can avoid it. You always want to, when you're in your vehicle, if you're traveling in a vehicle, you want to have a clear way to get to the front seat. So if anything starts going on, you can just like hop right into your front seat and drive away. But those are some like concrete things you can do. As far as like other things you can do to prepare, like I always share my location with my friends and my loved ones. Like I'm sharing my location with at least like 20 people at all times, so people know where I am, and I tell people where I'm going ahead of time. And then and then like wearing my watch, like my Apple Watch has GPS tracking, which is separate from my phone. So like if anything were to happen to my phone, if my phone were to die, my friends and family can still see where I am with my watch. Those are some of the things that I did to prepare to feel a little bit more safe as a solo traveler, because when I first started, I was traveling solo. I wasn't like traveling in a caravan like I am now. But speaking of caravan, that kind of brings me to my next point. Like, you can travel with other people, and that can help make someone feel a lot more safe. I will say, like, I started traveling solo, so I kind of got experience doing that first, and then I started doing traveling with a group of other nomads. And honestly, like, I don't necessarily feel, I mean, I guess I do feel a bit more safe, but I didn't really feel unsafe doing solo travel, and I think that's because I had all of those preparations set that I mentioned before, with having forms of protection, having ways that my family can see where I am with my watch and my phone, and just generally having a good idea of like common sense, you know, knowing where to park. Another thing is like making sure you're not pulling into especially like camp spots really late at night. When I was traveling solo, I would always make sure to get to my camp spot when the sun was still up, so I could like see what was around me, because when you're going to these dispersed camping spots, you know, in BLM land, which just stands for Bureau of Land Management, and national forests, which are just public lands that anybody can camp on for free, they don't have like what do you call them? They don't have like street lights or anything like that. So it's dark. So making sure you arrive early so you can actually see what's around you is always really helpful. But yeah, it's just like a lot of it just kind of comes down to just using like common sense ahead of time, but also like making sure you do have like concrete plans for certain things happening. And yeah, I haven't had any issues. I don't really know many people, I don't know many women who have had like huge safety issues when they've kind of been prepared like this. So that's what I would recommend. Okay, next question. I want to become a nomad, but I'm really attached to my friends and family back home. I'm scared I'm gonna get homesick if I leave. How do you deal with missing people when you are constantly moving around? Yeah, so this is an interesting one because for the first time in a while, I am starting to like miss my friends and family back home. So I actually I the way that I deal with missing people when I'm constantly moving, I guess, is just like I don't know. I haven't really come up with any like coping mechanisms, but the feeling also isn't that intense. Like every now and then I'll think like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of miss. Sometimes I miss home, or like I'll miss my family or stuff like that. But I'm almost always doing something that day that kind of brings the attention back to what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So I think if you're the kind of person who struggles with missing home or missing family when you're away from them, I think just like keeping yourself occupied and busy with new and interesting things is good. But also like reach out to your family. Like I talk to my friends all the time on the phone. I called my best friend twice yesterday, and I'll just be doing the most random stuff. Like if I'm editing or if I'm working on a photo or a video or anything like that, like going for a walk, whatever, I'll call up my friend and just talk to them. And that helps a lot. Just like making it a point to constantly be in contact with your loved ones. At least for me, I feel like they're kind of just here with me. You know, they're only a phone call away. But yeah, that said, it can be hard. It can be hard. But I don't think the key there is just like keeping yourself distracted with everything. I think, you know, as long as you're keeping in contact with these people, yeah, that's like, at least that's been really helpful for me. But I also just like, I've wanted to do this for so long, so I don't really like, I don't know, I don't find myself getting super homesick, but every now and then I will kind of miss some aspects of good old Arkansas. Okay, next question. All right, I'm graduating soon, and I don't know whether I should get a normal job first, save money, and then become a nomad, or just go for it. What would you do in my position? Honestly, you're not gonna like this answer. It depends. And I say that because, I mean, one, I don't know a whole lot about your situation, but like, it really does depend on your amount of risk that you're willing to take on. What's interesting is like, reading this question earlier today was funny because I've sort of done, both, if that makes sense. So when I first started nomad life, I started like part-time when I was doing a summer internship. And after that summer, I bought a van, and then I finished my last year of college building out that van. And then after I graduated college, I stayed in my hometown for another year working my corporate job after I sort of built out my van and I was living in my van full time working that corporate job, saving money so that I could leave. So if you're following my example with graduating soon, you're not sure if you should save money, and then become a nomad. What I did was I graduated, I worked for a year, saved money, living in the van that I'd already built out, and then I left when I didn't even feel ready to leave at that point, honestly. I just left when the feeling was so intense that I just had to leave. I quit my job and I just hit the road. So if you're following my example, yeah, I mean, like, it never hurts to save money. So I'll never like tell someone like, oh, saving money is stupid, you should just go. Like, I saved money and then I went. So like, but if you like if you want to go all in, like, you can also just go all, it is up to you and the amount of risk that you're willing to take. For some people, taking on more risk or raising the stakes is good for them because it forces them to lock in on creating the lifestyle that they want to live. For other people, having lower stakes, in other words, like saving money and doing the safe thing by staying at the job can decrease the amount of like impetus or the amount of like drive for actually changing their lifestyle. Because when you're doing something like working a stable job where you have a constant paycheck coming in, it can create a lot more tension for actually leaving and doing the thing, because you get used to that. You get used to the comfort, you get used to the stability, you make relationships at work. All of these are good things, but they can work against you when you are trying to do something as radical as becoming a nomad. So again, it really depends on you and the kind of person that you are and the amount of risk that you are willing to take on. I sort of did a weird combination of both. And honestly, again, like, it doesn't hurt to save money. It also, sometimes it can hurt to stay at a job too long. So that's probably like a very unsatisfying answer, but just keep in mind like all those things. Like, is it more important for you to save money, or is it more important for you to actually like snap out of it and do the thing? If you are someone who learns quickly and learns fast, especially when the stakes are high, just stopping and full sending it can be really good for you. So like, it just, and I know people who did that, who like quit their jobs, no savings, and who just ripped it out doing nomad life. And because they had nothing backing them up, that gave them all the drive and all the fire to actually figure it out and figure out how to make money on the road. And they figured it out, because like, problems are a lot easier to solve when they're not just circulating in your head and they're actually right in front of you. So for someone like that, that can be really good for you. But like, again, it's my third time saying it. I know I'm like repeating myself, because it's worth repeating. Like, it really does depend on who you are and what you're looking for and the amount of risk that you're willing to take on. Risk can be good and healthy for you, or it can be detrimental. It's worth kind of figuring that out ahead of time before you do anything crazy. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. I feel like that answer was kind of all over the place, but I fear it is the truth when it comes to stuff like that. It depends. It really does depend. Oh my gosh, that's all my questions for today. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, there's anything I want to like yap about today? I don't know. Ooh, I've got some friends that are in town now. They just came up from Arkansas. They're going up to Yellowstone today. I might join them later. I'm actually not sure. But being up here in Jackson is so fun. It's funny. So for context, I'm here in Jackson, Wyoming with a few other nomads, and we've been here for almost 2 months at this point. And we had originally planned to go out to Bend, Oregon, like a month ago, but Jackson's just so fun. Like, there's so many cool things to do here, and Jackson is like 30 minutes away from Grand Teton National Park and like an hour away from Yellowstone National Park. So we've been going into the Tetons all the time, and that's been like so fun. And there are so many nomads that are here in the Tetons right now who hilariously were originally in Oregon and then came over here because everyone was in the Tetons. So like, it's been hard to leave, but honestly, I'm not mad about it, because this place is just so magical and so amazing. There's just so much going on. And it's a really fun place to be a nomad. Like, there's so much city camping that you can do, and when you're ready to get out of the city, like, so much dispersed camping in Bridger Teton National Forest with all views of the Teton mountain range. Like, it's just, it is the best place. It is the best place to be. So I'm glad I'm here. And I don't know if I will ever leave, because this place is just so magical. Ooh! Okay, so I have been doing these lives. This is my 4th live in 4 days, answering questions. I'm really enjoying this format. Part of the reason I started doing this is because I'm trying to get myself back into posting long-form content on YouTube specifically. And this for me was just like an easy way to do that, because I get so many DM questions, and I figured it could be really helpful for me to answer those questions. But I want to do more long form content of me just hanging out with my friends and exploring and having fun, because that's what we do. We get into fun stuff. So yeah, I think I'd like to do that in a live format, but I'm still thinking about like what that could really look like. Sorry, I'm getting a text. And I think that that's something I'm probably just gonna have to figure out over time. But yeah, I'm excited that that some of you guys are really enjoying this new format of me just answering questions and going live every morning here. Yeah, so coming to a close, if you are interested in doing any of the things that I talked about, like building out your car and turning it into a micro camper, I do have a guide. It's called One Weekend Rig, where I essentially show you exactly how to do that. And show exactly like my method of turning my car into a micro camper. And that's available in my, I'm pretty sure it's in my bio, but it's definitely in my bio on Instagram. You can check it out there. I also have the Nomad Roadmap, which is my free guide for how to become a nomad starting with nothing. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend checking that out, and that's my bio here on YouTube as well. And definitely in my bio on Instagram, and my Instagram is just Ken Gets Out. I post everything there. I post on Instagram, like, oh my gosh, I've been posting crazy on Instagram like a freaking dog. Like, I think I posted like 4 or 5 times yesterday on Instagram. Anyway, if you're interested in seeing more stuff from me, like, my Instagram is definitely the place to be. All my links are there too. It's just Ken Gets Out. Yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I've been eating a lot of baguettes lately. You guys want to see something? You guys want to see something? I have so many baguettes. Look at this. Look at this. What am I supposed to do with this? I've got 2 other baguettes down here too. It's kind of a problem. Oh my gosh. Being here in Jackson, there's a free food program where basically like every day in different locations in Jackson, like these volunteers will get all of the excess food from all the nice stores like Albertsons and Smith's and Whole Foods and stuff like that, and take all of that food and just like give it out. And some of my friends have been going just to get free food, because why wouldn't you? It's like perfectly decent food. And oh my god, the amount of baguettes I have got. And these baguettes are so good. Like, what I've been doing is I've just been taking these baguettes and like when we go hiking or go like out doing exercise, whatever, I'll just take a baguette and just like gnaw on the baguette. It's like, it's freaking amazing. Oh my god, I love Jackson. Anyway, that was just a weird side tangent. I think I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna go live again tomorrow, answering more questions. So if you have any questions that you would like me to answer, feel free to DM them to me on my Instagram, which is just Ken Gets Out. I read all of my DMs, and sometimes I answer them. Most of the time I answer them. 95% of the time I answer them. So yeah, just shoot me a question, and I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, bye.